This is Kathy Beal of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of June 15th, 2020. We are in between eclipses. That's just one of about 15,000 reasons why life is so intense right now. The good news about this week is openings come, motivation comes for us to actually make some progress to move forward to deal with, in an effective and life-changing way, a lot of what is going on. It may help to keep in mind that A, we're in a marathon. We're in a long haul, at least through the end of November, of incrementally dealing with reorganizing, restructuring, re-everything. So pace yourself. Pacing yourself is critical. Pacing yourself with self-love and nurturing is critical. A lot more about that in a minute. And secondly, there's no going back. We're not going to suddenly get a governmental order and be able to go outside and do whatever we had done before and not have consequences, not have to deal with things. So sorry, there's the trite expression that once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't put him back in. Well, this is a 100-year-old, multi-100-year-old genie that has come out, possibly thousands of year-old genie that has come out. And we're in a huge evolutionary surge right now, and no one can stop it. No one. Not even people that stomp about on the news and make pronouncements that make your jaw go slack. We're watching dinosaur energy. We are watching the energy of the old ways, flailing and trying desperate measures to hang on, smoke screens, you name it, it's all futile. And that is a metaphor for something going on in your own life, okay? Look at, as much as possible, the tumult out in the world as reflecting something each one of us is going through. More emotions are coming on tap, more emotionality, more reflection coming on tap this week. Mercury, the planet that rules communication and also how we get around, is retrograding in the sign of Cancer, the most sensitive, nurturing, loving, home-loving, but also pitying, self-pitying, let's be honest, pissy energy in the zodiac. Now we have the majority of the planets in the sky retrograde. There's going to be some more shifting later in the month. And the opportunity to go back over emotional issues, emotions that you had not processed, that you hadn't fully run through your brain, interestingly, that you had not fully communicated. There could be a massive outpouring of sorrow and disillusionment and grieving with this. We've seen a lot of anger, but after the anger comes the hurt and the pain. And also know that with Mercury retrograde in a highly emotional mode, it will be really easy to be reactive, to have a response to all kinds of stuff that is completely non-rational and maybe confused, maybe projecting, reading things in that aren't there. With all of these retrogrades right now, and especially with communication further entering the mix of what in the world is going on, it's really advisable to catch yourself and give yourself a momentary time out, especially if you have a strong reaction to something, to pull back, stand back, figure out what is yours, what is someone else's, and then decide whether you're going to engage. Your own loving experience of yourself and of life must be paramount. I am by no means advocating selfishness. I am advocating really taking care of yourself. And if you find yourself in environments that are setting you off, that are triggering you, that are causing all kinds of things to come bubbling up, especially if they have to do with family or societal programming or what you thought was supposed to be happening in the world and you don't understand life anymore, if those things hit, consider those giant warning signals to step out, to step outside, to take a time out, and not to engage, especially if the conversations have something to do with or are with people that you need to stay connected to. So I'm talking family and really close friends here. There's a lot more about dealing with this Mercury retrograde in my guide at Times, How to Handle a Mercury Retrograde in 2020. There will be a link below for this. Now, while we now have the opportunity to go back and explore, revisit, restructure, tie up loose ends in all kinds of emotional situations, multiple opportunities come for us to do something with the huge foundational structural changes that we have been undergoing all year. These come through aspects involving Mars, the planet of action, the representative of the masculine. He's the god of war. He rules the military. The police, the masculine, but also he's like I call him the cosmic first responder, where we get the courage and the motivation to push ourselves forward. He is in opportunity aspects this week with the two agents that are amplifying deep structural change. So this means in the news, the massive shifts that we're already seeing across the country, across the world, in how law enforcement is going to work, pulling down all kinds of things having to do with the Confederacy, dealing with militia walking the streets, all of those issues will be involved. And in your personal life, you will find catalysts, motivations, incentive, maybe hands shoving you in the back saying, get going, that will push you into deepening, engaging more fully with the evolutionary, structural, foundational changes that are going on in your own life. There's a boldness, there's a fearlessness, there's a doing something even if you rationally are afraid of it, you just plow through and do it. You are setting things up that you will push against, that you will plow through even more forcefully starting in the middle of August. So this is arranging your game board. Look at it that way. And then as we get to the weekend, it's the solstice, the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere at 0 degrees Cancer on the world axis. This is when the sun shifts into Cancer every year. And this time we have on that day, not merely a new moon, not merely a new start of a lunar cycle, but we have a solar eclipse at 0 degrees Cancer on the world axis on the solstice. Things are happening now that affect the entire planet, that affect humanity as a whole, that will play out for not just the 3 months of this season in the calendar, but at least for the next 6 months. The solstice solar eclipse is the next to last event in wrapping up the last 2.5 years of revisiting, rebooting, revamping, resetting our concepts of home, family, and security. Becoming much more mindful of your own needs for nurturing has been an imperative of this. Something is happening now that is redefining in a huge crystallized moment concept of family. Is it humanity as family? This is a profound and enormous reset, a profound and enormous reboot. Many things are changing rapidly because of this. When the sky goes dark at the eclipse, situations will leave, people will leave, beliefs will leave, cultural figures will no longer have the status that they had. And this event is in an adjustment aspect to Saturn in Aquarius, which has retrograded back to the beginning of the sign. In a few weeks, it's going to slide back into Capricorn for its final cleanup work, and December, it will start the next couple of years in the sign of Aquarius. When Saturn moved into this sign in March, that coincided with the lockdowns, the shutdowns, people starting to take the pandemic seriously. It coincided with so much of life going online, with new senses of community, different, progressive, unconventional, innovative approaches to all kinds of things. So there is something here about adjusting our sense of responsibility, adjusting what we believe authority is responsible for in community, adjusting our notions collectively of responsibility, of authority, of government, and on an individual level, adjusting what we take responsibility for in ourselves and in our families, and most especially for our own nurturing. I have a lot more to say about this in my talk about the June 2020 solstice, which will be on the solstice at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday, June 21st. Look for the link below to sign up, and a recording will be available whether you can attend live or not. So, big stuff. We're wrapping up. We're starting to push forward. We're making inroads. We're also zooming into the new way that we're going to be. Homing thought of the week. If not now, when? Song of the week, I have two. Both are from Broadway. Something's Coming from West Side Story, and Let the Sunshine In from Hair. And if you go on YouTube to the channel of Adam, 1D, B. Shapiro, there is a video of a whole bunch of people from the New York musical theater and cabaret scene in November 2016 recording the song, and I am in the center of the thumbnail, also singing on it as well. And the image of the week is a young mother in labor working with the coach and focusing not just on her breathing, not just on contracting, but using the image of a candle to guide and focus her efforts. You'll find more about all this in my talk for the solstice and in my forecast for the Cancer new moon solar eclipse, which will be up at my site by Friday at empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. You'll find lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Beal, including tips on working with the eclipse energies. And I am really, really grateful to the people who continue to support me there and keep my Astro-Insight forecasts available to everyone. So you need to thank these people too, if not become one of them. Lots of lively conversation on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited and the group The Astro-Insight Lounge. All kinds of stuff on Instagram at @KABeal, and on YouTube I'm at The Professional Aquarian Channel. Talk to you next week.